Hi there, Russ Douglas 222 here, and I'll ditch these for a minute, but it's overcast but still quite bright. I'm hoping this session won't last so long that I'll get sunburned, because I burn very easily, but I've got my lid on. So here I am, wind turbine behind me says prevailing directions that way, but there's not much of a breeze yet. I've just set out my 50-meter target here for a zero check. I'll be shooting from just to the side of the car back there, and then after the zero check I'm planning to move the target back in 10-meter increments as far as I can, really, to the point where the rifle's not groupy anymore, and then I'll bring it back here and move it in 10-meter increments back towards the car until the closest one will be about 10 meters. I'm not going to do comprehensive different types of pellets and slugs today. This is to test how well the Pard008S LRF works on the 2.2 FAC power levels. So I'm shooting 15.89 grain JSB exact pellets at about 914 feet per second, nearly 30 foot-pounds. Just before I get started, I'll show you my kit for the session. We have the FX Impact M3 Sniper denoting the 580cc carbon fibre bottle and the 700mm barrel. Just for compactness, I've put the Donny FL Fatboy 2.0 on the front for moderation, although I'm well within my permission. And since I recorded that little intro, the wind has kicked up a little bit, so while I'm shooting downrange over here, there's my 50-meter target in the distance. The breeze looks to be pretty constant left to right, so can't be helped. It wasn't supposed to be breezy, but this is why I picked this morning. I'll crack on. So I've got the two 28-shot magazines topped up with 15.89 grain JSBs. I'll adjust my JB3D butt hook into an L shape in a second. That's now going to rest over my shoulder while I'm shooting. My shooting setup is right here, 500mm high rotating bucket seat, and Primos trigger sticks with the Bog ultralight cradle on top of the saddle, and that faces nicely downrange. So definite breeze left to right now. We'll see how this fella goes. Pard008S LRF is already zeroed at 50 meters. This was how I tested it last week at GARC. So I'm going to do a zero check. If the grips are reasonably tight, I'll just do half a dozen shots at each range every 10 meters out to as far as I go and up to about 10 meters. Nearly forgot to mention, I've got the standard trigger guard with the 3-slot Picatinny rail swapped out for a Sabre 22-slot underbottle Picatinny rail, and the bipod's on just for demo purposes here. I'm going to pop the bipod off, and then the front of the Picatinny rail extension will be resting in the Bog ultralight clamp there, just for stability. As you can see, the turbine is definitely spinning. Definitely not as forecast, but hey, what the heck, these things are sent to try us. The wind has definitely got up. Right, this is not looking good. The wind is pushing these pellets all over the place. Best laid plans and all that. I added some long sleeves to prevent myself from getting sunburn, but first few test shots at 50 meters, and the wind is now up to about 11 or 12 miles an hour from the south, which is left to right, and they're pushing the pellets intermittently almost off the edge of the target to the right. So my plan is now scratch this and come back at 5 AM tomorrow, where the wind is forecast to be 5 to 6 miles an hour from same direction. I'll try again tomorrow morning with much lower wind. Wish me luck. This was yesterday's attempt. aiming centrally at 50 meters, and the left to right wind was such that the pellets were almost off the page. So today the forecast is for slightly lower winds, 5, 6, 7 miles an hour, hopefully no more while I'm here, and I've moved position so that what wind there is will be directly behind me. Because the breeze is more or less southerly, I'm going to limit myself to about 70-75 meters within the grounds of the farmyard itself, and keep a sensible range this morning. Also, I want to test the Pard008S LRF's ballistic calculator to the best range I can, but to do that I need a stable shooting position. So I'm actually going to probably use my MTM high-low table out in the farmyard. It's not quite realistic in the sense that it's not reproducing what I'll be doing when I'm shooting rabbits out and about, but I'll be doing that test as well. Hopefully this will go okay. The haze is due to burn off in the next hour or so, so I'll be putting long sleeves on if need be, if the sun really gets hotter, because I sunburn very easily. I am blonde after all, you know, no matter what this says. Since I was swapping the Pard008S LRF over from the FX Maverick to the FX Impact M3, I also took advantage to put the mount on long term that I want on it. It's now mounted via the Eagle Vision Cam 108 MOA mount, which now shows center screen. You can see the upper Picatinny rail is now the one that's bespoke for the Pard008S, which is 1mm wider underneath. You might be able to just make out, I'll try and put a little logo on the screen. You can see that I've extended the reach back slightly by about 3/4 of an inch. This is just basically because the Impact's razor rail doesn't go quite far back far enough. And the beauty of the 108 MOA rail is you can not only adjust it for windage and elevation while your scope's set on X0, Y0, you can also adjust the reach back so I'm not hunching forward to get my eye right into the eye bell of the scope, which you know you really do need to get your eye right up to the display with the new Pard008S and SLRF and the previous 008P to avoid the fisheye lens effect. And I've just realised, of course, while editing, that I didn't take any selfie videos with a tripod holding a mobile phone, partly because of the breeze, and also I was trying to fit in a lot of work the other day. So here's a few images from my review of the MTM high-low shooting table from John Rothery. This was published in Airgun World in, I think it was October 2017. Still one of my first articles. You can see how stable it is, although in the case of the FX Impact M3, it's a 6 to 9 inch bipod, so it's a bit short and it's a bit further forward at the end of the accessory rail, and I'm sitting on my bucket seat, not a stable chair. So I did fall over the once, but only the once. Quite chuffed with that. There's less of a breeze, and I've moved so the breeze is now behind me to the left. Put this target out at 30 meters exactly, so I can double check the alignment of the Eagle Vision Cam 108 MOA mount, and once that's set I'll move the target back to 50 meters. Yep, 50 meters, and then I'll move myself further back to do hopefully 60 and 70 meter testing, wind permitting. Okay, those shots are high because I've got a 50 meter zero, but the next thing will be to realign the Eagle Vision Cam mount. Okay, after falling over once, not easy using the bucket seat in close proximity to the shooting table, I've moved the target further down range. 51 meters, that's close enough. Guess what, it's showing it blue X just a tiny bit below the bull, which it should be spot on at this range. There's a breeze getting slightly stronger, but it's from behind. Safety off would help. That was 2 pellets in the second hole, I think, just above the bolt. And that's the 3rd pellet there, so I'm going to adjust the zero for that, because there's not much wind, and I'll move myself back
10 meters.
That's the 50-meter group that resulted, and that's a 23mm diameter UK £1 coin beside it. So you can see that apart from the little shot to the right of the bull, the group was slightly high, so I adjusted it slightly downwards and saved it and cracked on from there.
This target is now 60 meters, and you can see that the LRF splash is obviously just underneath the horizontal stadia of the crosshair, because when I put it spot on, it's alternating between 40 odd meters and 60. Right, so if I pop it on 60, right, so it's giving me that aim point. I can see a blue X, which is at about just below 0.5 on the main stadia. Little breeze right to left. Oh, that one was high. Probably me. And that's now in line with the bull, so the wind obviously dropped there. Oh, and that's spot on in the bull. So if you ignore the top left flyer, hold it steady. There's one in the bull, one below right, and 2 or 3 below left. Not a bad group at 60 meters. I'm going to go forward, change the target, and then come back and move my shooting table back to 70 meters.
So remember, the pound coin in the top left of the photo is 23mm diameter. If we ignore the upper left shot as a flyer, the group is pound coin sized-ish, but it's ever so slightly low, maybe 8 or 10mm low. That's down to the ballistic calculator.
Take 4 or 5 or 20 or whatever this is. There we go, 70 meters. So the LRF is definitely measuring a fair bit below the horizontal stadia. Well, that 70 meters is exactly what my handheld cheapo Amazon rangefinder told me, which is why I'm sitting here. Actually, I'm going to change my aim point. Oh no, I was going to change it to red or yellow or a lighter colour to stand out against the black bull, but at this range I can actually pretty well frame it with the blue on the white background. So, safety off, get the scope eye belt with the rubber folded back, get it nestled into against my nose and my eye socket, because the near eye display, that's where you want it. Oh, there's a fair breeze left to right, I can feel it against my left side of my face. I'll wait a minute till that stops. See that pellet struck right and slightly low. Same place. Same place. Oh, that breeze is quite strong now. I have to wait till it dies. Come on, breeze, back off a second. One more for good luck.
So you saw me pause a few times there to wait for the breeze to die down, but I'm well chuffed with this group. That group's about 14mm centre to centre, and it's about 40mm to the right thanks to the left-right wind, but it is about 19mm low, and that's down to the ballistic calculator.
Change the target and then move the shooting seat back to 80 meters. I put the Pard's protective side cap on for a second there because it had a little bit of drizzle, but cleared up already. Wasn't forecast, but who knows. So now, knowing that the LRF measures below the reticle, yeah, 80 meters is spot on. If I put it spot on, then yeah, it's measuring to the foreground. So 80 meters, there we go. Got an aim point, which is about 2 1/4. Safety off. Cock the M3, just to show you how it looks magnified. So there's the aim point. Try and keep it stable for you. Focus fine-tuned a smidgen. But I'm probably going to keep aiming at base mag 6.5. The breeze has dropped briefly, so I'll take advantage of that. It's a fair pause at 80 meters before the pellet strikes. Oh, that's at the edge of the bull. That pellet clipped the black. That was slightly to the right. So was that. I might even have one in the bowl there. There's a little bit of a left-right elongation here due to the intermittent breeze, but I'm quite happy that the ballistic calculator's not far off elevation-wise, which is good. And I'm actually, while conditions are okay, I'm actually going to move back and left, and I think I can shoot in between the left side of my car and this gateway here that I've got in the Stadia, and I think I can do a 90-meter test here. But yeah, I'm going to go down range, change the target, and try a 90-meter group, because conditions seem favourable at the moment.
So fingers crossed the conditions will stay nice and I can do a reasonable grouping at 90 meters. This is as far as I'm going to go because there's a wall behind me, and further behind where the shooting seat is, there's a field of barley. That's not a bad group for 80 meters with a intermittent left to right breeze. So I'm quite happy with that so far. And the ballistic calculator, it's maybe about 10 mil off, if that. Not bad for 80 meters. Conditions have improved slightly, so I've moved the target slightly further to the right so that way back there, beyond my car on the right, you can see my shooting seat, and that is 90 meters.
Okay, so it's dried up again. So off comes the memory card cap. Zooming, looks like that, a 13 mag. Zoom back out. Coast is clear left and right for farmers. Get the Pard eyepiece right into my eye socket. Ballistic calculator, 90 meters. Oh, that was a connect of wood. I love the slick action of this M3.
This 90 meter group is 55 mil wide, and vertically it's spread by exactly 20 mil, but the center of it is 39 mil below the center of the bullseye. So we've got some ballistic calculator error there, or perhaps just a tweak needed in the ballistic coefficient used for the pellets, which I used 0.031. But yeah, I think it would have been a £1 coin sized group if it hadn't drifted off to the right. That's pretty impressive. I've just recorded a commentary on the Pard008S LRF after having shot downrange group at 90 meters. I'm not going to go further back because behind me we have a field of barley, and behind the backstop there is a shed. So for today, that's as far as I'm going to go, but I'm happy with 90 meters. Now I'm going to move myself back to where the car is, bring the target this way, check the ballistic calculator at 40 meters, 30, 20 and 10. And the cap, memory card compartment cap, is back off the Pard008S LRF because the drizzle, which wasn't forecast anyway, has now dried up. So brilliant. Still keeping the sunshade on though, although thankfully I've ditched the long sleeves because it is pretty overcast. Perfect, nice fresh breeze.
A bit of a focus change here, and you can see I've used the target with a smaller bullseye. 40 meters, spot on, giving me a little bit of hold under. Check the farmers are not around. I think it was me pulling those last two shots. It's not a bad group.
That's a 5-shot group, exactly 20 mil wide, centered around 12 mil to the left of the bull. So there's maybe a little bit of right-left breeze as well as me pulling a shot or two. It's spot on for elevation.
The focus is still okay. So more like it. 29 meters is close enough. Give me a tiny bit of hold under. Safety off. And at 30 meters with this power level, breeze from behind and slightly from the left doesn't really matter. That's a good group, good proving the ballistic calculator.
Now the breeze is having no effect, and that's a 9mm group. Very nice, spot on for height as well.
That's the rain just back, so I'm going to put the compartment cap back on the right hand side so we don't get any water inside the Pard. Here at 19 metres, the group's about 3mm high, and as you can see, I was rushing it because it's so close. There's a brief shower, but it stopped, so memory card compartment caps back off, safety off. 10 metres, that's what I wanted, and the rifle's not canted, the target is. Okay, so it's overestimating the holdover at 10 metres. I think I'll quickly do a 5 metre one just to see how it looks at really close range. Okay, so now at 10 metres this group is 13mm high, so again within about 15 to 20 metres the ballistic calculator has a slight error in the amount of holdover required. Just like on the tests I did it indoors out to 37 metres and down as close as 3 metres with the 177 Maverick. There's this target. Oh, there it is, very close range. I'm actually going to fold down the bipod at this range. So, rifle's rested on the folded bipod legs. This is very close. 5 metres, exactly what I wanted. And I would say, looking at 6, 8, 10, that looks like it's about 13 on the holdover scale. And I'm guessing the pellets are going to go at about the number 10, but I'll aim for the blue cross. All in the same hole, which is about 10.5. So that'll do me. 90 metres, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 19, 10 and 5. Ballistic calculator is not quite cock on at the closer ranges or at 90 metres, but at least I know how much it's off by.
Hope you've made it to the end here. So that's me just shot that target at exactly 5 metres, and the ballistic calculator's a little bit high, about half an inch high at 5 metres, same as it was at 10. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the grouping, and especially out to 90 metres. Shame it wasn't perfectly still, but I'm quite happy with that. So I hope this has been interesting. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Lots more content coming. Thanks for watching and enjoy your shooting. Cheers.